Alright YouTube, we're going to start a new video here, and we're actually going to be working on that guy right there, 91 Mustang. I've made one video on it a while back when I did some motor work, and now it's got a completely different motor in it from that video, and we'll go in more into that in detail later. But this video is going to be on what's in those boxes down there. If you're familiar at all with these Fox body Mustangs, you know that even though they were a 5.0, they came with 5-lug front and rear, 5-lug axle in the rear, 5-lug rotors in the front, and we're going to be changing that up this week. I'm off from work this week, so I'm going to get a couple things done, hopefully do some filming for you. But behind those center caps, there's 4 lugs. 4 lug nuts, basically 4 studs, 4 lug nuts that hold the wheel on. Same thing for the front. We're going to be changing those out, doing a couple different things. The wheels we're using is behind here. You can't really see them. You can kind of see them. They're 03 Cobra rims from my old Cobra that I used to have, and we got the other parts for the front up there. I'll show you those, but these other parts just came in this week for the rear. So let me get to a spot where I can open those up and show them to you. Let me we'll pause it here and pick back up in a second. Alright, we got it all unboxed here. Of course, we got some new axles. They are 5-lug, just stock replacement basically. 5-lug. Some it says they're a little bit stronger than stock, but they're just 28 spline, nothing special. Of course, new wheel studs, new axle seals, and new axle bearings. And then of course the drums to go with it. Just basically it goes over the factory drum assembly, but it's got your 5 lugs. First thing we're gonna do before we jack it up is we're gonna pop off this center cap here, and then just break loose the lug nuts while it's on the ground, so that way the wheel doesn't try to turn on us. So I have a little plastic pry tool that I stick in here, and then I kind of just work in there, and this keeps minimal damage from happening. Sometimes you got to use the other end with a little more angle on it. You just pop that in there, get it in there, and pry it out. Sometimes you got to work your way around. That's why I use plastic. Get your finger in there and then pull it. That way it doesn't break anything. Pull off. So once you get that off, set it off to the side, nice and easy. Then you'll get your lug nuts. I think I got the right size here. Yeah, this is the right size. So this is a 13/16. We're just gonna break these loose. Once you get a little bit of a turn on them, they'll break loose. Crisscross pattern. I don't think that matters as much loosening, but just do that just to be, form good habits. Break them all loose. Once you get them all to start to turn, then you can go ahead and jack up. So now they're all broke loose. We're gonna do the same thing to the other side. I won't set up and video that just because it's the same exact thing, but we'll do the same thing to the other side, jack it up, get our jack stands ready, and then we'll go ahead and take the wheels off. got the car on jack stands secure. It's not going anywhere. We can go ahead and take our lug nuts the rest of the way off. So we got all our lug nuts off, and we can go ahead and store these away. Of course, we have 4, and after we're done, we're gonna have to add another one. So hold on to these. Depending on the wheels you get, you might want to get new lug nuts. You might be able to reuse these and add a couple, but obviously that'll be up to you. But get our wheel off, and that will reveal our drum. Fox bodies have 9-inch drum brakes in the rear from the factory. All of them, GT, LX, no matter what. So that reveals that, I believe, and I could be wrong, but from the research I've done, I believe they all had the same size rear drum brakes. The fronts were different for the 4-cylinders and the 5.0s, but the rears, I believe, are all the same, even if it's a 7.5-inch rear end and 8.5-inch rear, or 8.8-inch rear end. So, of course, like I said early in the video, we got new 5-lug drums. These are obviously not adjusted very well because that slipped right off, but that reveals that. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, we're gonna take off these differential cover bolts. I believe they're 13mm. So we're gonna go ahead and knock. All right, take number 2. Get some of these out. All right, we got it off, or all the bolts off. Now we just gotta pop this baby loose. Here it comes. There it goes. Whew, that stinks. I love the smell of your oil in the morning. I'll let that drain out. Wonder if we can get it off of there. There it goes. Alright guys, we got the cover off. You can see in there. I'm trying to hold the light up so you can see it. I know it's a pain. I don't know if you can see, there's a little bolt right here. That little tiny bolt where I'm just pointing at. It's a 5/16. And then there's this pin. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a pin right here. And that pin will come out when that bolt comes out. So we're gonna take that bolt out so we can take the pin out, so then we can take our or push our axles in to get the C-clips off. So we're gonna go ahead and grab this bolt right here. I'm gonna have to use 2 hands. I was gonna try to do it on camera, but it's gonna be too hard, so I'm gonna pick you back up after I get it out. Got our C-clip out, so we're just gonna pull this axle out of here. Just carefully. And there you go. Easy as that. Another thing we have to do is this axle seal right here. We're gonna go ahead and replace that. This may not be the best way. You may have a better way to do it, but I just stick this on the back side of it until I get a good bite. And I just start hitting on it and go around it This one's pretty tight. There it goes. There it goes. It's just like that. I'm gonna just take our paper towel here and wipe up some of this nasty grease around here. Get it ready for our new seal. Just wipe around the edges, get all the dirt and grime all the way around. Careful not to push any of it back into the bearing. And then it's a good time to inspect your bearing. I'm pretty sure this one's been apart recently, so I'm not going to change the bearings because they look pretty good in there. And this car honestly doesn't get driven a whole lot, so it'll probably be okay. So I'm going to leave that as is. Now that that's clean, we're going to prepare for our new seal. I did go ahead and replace these just because brake dust and all that stuff is hard on rubber and then dries it out. So it did go ahead and get a new seal, and basically you're just gonna put that in there, and you're gonna want something to hit it flush in there. So I'm gonna take this block of wood and I'm gonna take my little 3-pound sledge here, and I'm just gonna tap it nice and firm, and it should go straight on in like that, no big deal. So you'll hear it hit solid. Once it hits solid and you know it's flush in there, just clean it out, make sure there's no pieces of wood that got in your seal. And then I'll take some grease and put some not grease, but some of the gear oil, put some gear oil in around that seal, and we'll be ready to slide our axle in. We're ready to put our new axle in. Just slide it right on in there. We put a little grease or a little gear oil on our seal, so that way it's not completely dry. Slide the splines in where they go. Easier said than done sometimes. There it goes. Remember, we gotta push it all the way in so we can get our C-clip back in, and then we'll pull it back out and put the pin back in.